I have to put on a little leprechaun hat.
Little Ricky comes out again.
A little pot of gold walking around. Welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, everybody. Episode number 94. We are fast approaching... No, it's not 94.
95.
Oh my God, we are fast approaching 100. And it's quite exciting because we've just announced tickets have gone on sale for our 100th live show.
Yes.
But people listening to this now, this is Tuesday. The 9th,
you've
maybe?
No, it's not that. Is it the 9th? No,
7th.
the 9th.
7th it
Tuesday
is.
the 7th today.
But we released tickets on Friday the 3rd.
Yes.
So we're just going to get this out there now. At the moment, it's tracking to look like we're going to be selling out pretty fast.
Hopefully when people listen to this right now, there's no offence, but hopefully there's no tickets left for you to pick.
Just in case, we'll put a link in the description.
Yeah.
But we're excited about it. How are you, pal? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm nervous/excited for the live podcast. It's going to be at the Salford Lowry.
Yes.
Saturday, the 9th of October, 2021. Me, you, few guests. It should be good.
It should be very good. We've got 450 tickets as well that we've pretty much sold.
Can you believe people, 450 people coming to watch us chat? Absolutely. Because the thing is, right, we're sat in a studio now, a very nice studio.
Thanks.
And when I look that way, there's nothing there but obviously a couple of cameras, some weird curtain things that help protect the sound. There's no pressure, even though people are going to listen to this, and hopefully upwards of 100,000 people listen to this right now. No pressure. Nothing really planned today. We're going to chat nonsense.
Exactly.
When there's 450 faces that have used their hard-earned cash to watch you, and that's the beauty of this, because it's a win-win for me. If it goes well, I can say, oh, well, yeah, I helped to plan this, I'm a co-host this. If it goes crap, it's not the Guy Chan at golf, it's the Rick Shiels golf, it's your name's on this.
I don't mind, I'll take the hit. To be honest, it's probably, I'm pretty sure it will be the biggest live audience I've performed in front of as well, because, obviously, YouTube videos, it's really interesting. When we make a YouTube video, and someone snapped us the other day, actually, they papped us yesterday, it's normally you, me, you're behind the camera directing, giving great advice about the way that the video should go. Then there is normally one or two camera operators. It's either Matt and Harry or Tim. And that's where it feels no pressure. I'm very much myself. I'm kind of just loving life. Mm-hmm. In front of live people, when you can see the whites in their eyes. And should be good.
Okay, a few questions. Imagine those 450 people are sat there, right?
Yep.
You're doing the podcast.
Yes.
If 10 is maximum pressure, doing the podcast, how many out of 10 would you reckon you'll feel?
Pressure or nervous?
Well, nervous.
10.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's not work then. I hope you were going to say 6, and then I'd say, what about if that same people was there and then you were doing a chip? Would that go up or not? Or hitting
10.
a drive? Hitting a drive
I'd be fine.
A not many out of 10. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd be certainly. It depends if it's result based.
Oh yeah, people can watch.
If I was just smashing a driver into a net, well, there's no pressure at all, is there? You just hold your finish and it went 300 yards.
What a 15-yard chip.
But this is the difference, and I've always thought this. I don't think the pressure increases anything more than me. If 5 people are watching, I'm 10 out of 10 nervous. Mm-hmm. If 500 people are watching, I'm still 10 out of 10 nervous.
That's true.
I almost can't get any more. If 10,000 people were watching me live, still 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean by that? So it's
you'll need one smartphone to take that video. It's going viral.
Exactly.
But actually today, we're talking about the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, and the key word there is golf. This podcast might be changing very soon, because for those listening might not know, Rick's looking a bit confused. But
oh no, I'm not.
Recently, Rick has become a really, really knowledgeable football pundit. You've changed. Last year, you went asked about football.
I am hardcore football fan.
You are?
I've actually become quite addicted to it.
So it was the Euros got you into it.
The Euros definitely got me into it. And for you guys listening in the US, we're talking football and soccer. And it was the Euros. And I've said it in the past, even growing up when I was a kid, I was a massive football fan. I think most kids are really, aren't they? When I went to primary school, I used to have the swapping cards, whatever you used to call them.
The swapping football stickers.
Football stickers. We used to swap them. That's what I used to love most. And big United fan. I used to go to games. I was never a season ticket holder, granted.
Get the kits when they come out.
You used to get literally on the day head to toe kits as well. Shirt, shorts, socks, the works.
That was when you were 24.
Goalkeeper kits, away kits.
goalkeeper
Honestly,
kits.
I was pretty hardcore back
Who was
then.
your favourite player back then? What era was this? Must be before Beckham.
No, 100% into. Oh no,
Was
sorry.
before
At this point,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like Cantona.
Yes,
You know,
collar up.
Yeah, it was that kind of era. And it was. I don't know. It's quite an exciting kind of. United were dominating everything. I'm a United fan. I'm a hardcore United fan now.
You are, really. It was 2 seasons ago. We almost became a Liverpool fan. Now United have signed Ronaldo.
And you're right. I went through then the ages with like Beckham and Scholesy and Giggsy, and that kind of era was amazing.
That's how I know you're hard. It's the Scholesy, the Giggsy, the Cantonari,
the Schmeichely. And, I've thoroughly enjoyed it there. And I must admit, I've said this before, it was kind of when Sir Alex Ferguson left and United went a bit crap. I fell out of love with football.
Yeah.
It actually happened slightly before that. It was when Rooney wanted to leave United, and it was all about money.
It's a bit loud.
It was all about money, and I was like, oh God, what was like?
I mean,
me sat in a pub going, "What's football become, guy?"
And then as soon as you sign Ronaldo on $400,000 a week, the money's fine.
Money. We've got it. Pay the man more.
But now you watch football, you watch matches that aren't even United.
I know.
Listen to Talk Sport. The other day, you were banging around, he's been signed for 24 million plus add-ons. This really, I can't wait. Next time you get your haircut, the barber's going to think you're a right football lad. That's why you've done it, and it's worthwhile. 14
million plus add-ons. It was. And you introduced me to TalkSport, which I'll be honest, I've never been into. Weirdly, I've been on TalkSport maybe 3 times now.
You were never bothered when you were doing it, 'cause you didn't know what it was?
Now I'm like, loving it.
You'd be nervous next time you go on now. You'll be like, oh my days.
I'm speaking to Andy.
Speaking of sport, though, one thing that...
I talk golf or not.
Well, yeah, but one thing that I've heard about, you've told me briefly this story, I want you to explain it fully for me and for the listener, there was a young boy a couple of days ago, won a very big golf tournament, and he's done an interview afterwards, apparently, or his dad has. And he said, he's not really got a favourite golfer. So, for example, he's not thinking Tiger. He's not talking about Dustin Johnson. He's not a John Rahm fan or Rory. Or his favourite golfer is your friend of mine, Richard Shiels. Explain this to me, please.
So, what's weird, I don't know how I've ever set this up. I actually have a prompt on Google. If my name ever gets mentioned in a news article, I get an email.
I don't know how I set this up.
It's just something I set up. And I woke up yesterday morning, and normally it happens around midnight. I got a news article, a news alert saying you've been...
How often do you get these then?
Oh, well, daily. Not very, very, very seldomly. Depends if I've caused any beef. So I got this prompt, and it was like, you've been mentioned in the news article. So I clicked on it, and it was the Mayo News.
Mayo?
Mayo. M-Mayo.
I'm going to try and find this article now.
I found it for you.
Oh, okay.
It's a Mayo News. So it's an Irish newspaper, and on the homepage, or on one of the golf pages, it was Ballyhainis golfer is number 1. And there's a picture
got it.
of a young lad holding a massive trophy.
That's a ridiculous big trophy.
With super proud dad and super proud mum. And underneath it says, brilliant young golfer John William Burke, who apparently is a huge fan of the podcast. Doesn't say this in the news article, but...
I reckon that would be his second favourite golfer then. Could be top 10.
You could be. Is pictured with his parents, John and Paula, along with the Gary Player Trophy, which he won for being the overall champion in the Flow Gas Irish Junior Open Golf Summer Series. Okay? And later on in the article, kind of skip through reading the rest of it. I want to find my name. And you're right, it said, who's your favourite golfer? And he said he doesn't have one, but he watches all of Rick Shiels' YouTube videos. So... Twitter can be a toxic place sometimes.
It can.
I'm not the biggest fan of Twitter. I'm sorry for everybody that does follow me on there, but it's a bit weird. I thought, let's use the power of Twitter and do something nice. I'd got home slightly early yesterday afternoon. The kids are still off school. They were running around the house causing mayhem. I was just chilling out. And I put a tweet out saying, is there any chance anyone can get hold of this young lad's parents' numbers? I thought, let's congratulate him. So the golf course themselves actually messaged me. Ballyhainis Golf Club, and the pro there, Maria, gave me his dad's number, and just out the blue, I rang him yesterday.
So, talk me through it. You ring, he goes, hello. I don't want to do a thingy here, but just, what was it?
Well, he's Irish.
Right, okay.
So John's Irish, and
Yeah.
I like an Irish accent. I really do. And my wife is very fond of an Irish accent, and she was around. My wife actually ended up crying on the phone call.
Oh, my word.
And so I rang him up and said, "Oh, hi, John. It's Rick Shiels." He went, "Oh, hello there, Rick. How you doing, no?" I said, "I believe your son's just won a big tournament." "Oh, yes, he has, no." I can't. Is this a decent or not?
It's not horrendous.
I feel like I can do better, but the pressure on the video, and I don't want to offend anybody in Ireland. And I said, is because Dad's called John and son's called John. I said, "Is John Jr. around?" He said, "Yeah, he's just next to me." So puts him on the phone. I was on the phone to him for about 5 minutes.
Was he chatting back? Like, was he nervous?
Really nice
Oh,
lad.
that's class.
Really nice lad. And I invited him as my VIP guests to the golf show live.
That's awesome.
Which I didn't think they'd be able to make because of restrictions, but he's texted me since and said they'd be happy to come along, him and his dad. So it's just nice, and it's not didn't take a lot. And listen, I wasn't genuinely doing it for any other reason, just to congratulate him. He's won a big trophy. He's mentioned my name in a news article. The least I can do is give him a little phone call and congratulate him.
That's very, very nice touch. But this is what's mad, that like a bit like Minwoo Lee, golfers coming through now, tour golfers who are like, let's say 18 to 23 or whatever, have kind of grown up watching your videos.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you think about, that's it. Even the younger generations. How old was John? He was like
12.
So literally, you've been making videos for as long as he can remember. Like when he was 5 years old, you were making videos.
Yeah.
So if he hopefully goes on to be a tour player or whatever, or however he takes golf in the future, there's kids out there who'll have been watching the videos, hopefully listen to the podcast, and you will be to them as much of a golfer, if you like, as Rory. It's
crazy,
mad.
isn't it?
It is mad.
Well, John Senior said that John Junior's favourite day of the week is a Tuesday because the podcast comes out, and he says he listens as he drives to the golf course.
That's class.
But we've probably seen it already. Like Minwoo Lee, who mentioned he was a fan of the channel before coming on the channel and now dominating the world of golf. Players like Sam Horsfield has mentioned that he watches the videos. Who's the other Irish lad that you... Tom McKibben?
Tom McKibben, yeah.
He's a fan of the channel, I believe.
Yeah.
And now he's, European
class.
tour and doing amazing.
Do you think, though, that, like, when you're growing up... Go on.
That young lad at the Open.
Oh, yeah?
Who stopped me on the putting green.
We
Can't remember his name now, but he was walking across the bridge at the top. And granted, I know a few of the players now, not loads, but a few of them. So I wouldn't have been surprised if, I don't know, a Danny Willett or a Tommy Fleetwood might have shouted down, "Hey, Rick," or something.
Yeah.
This lad walked past and you were there with me and said, "Hey, Rick." And I was like, I don't really know who that is. And we walked over to the putting green. We had to actually look at his bag. This kid's playing in the bloody Open. So yeah, we might have on the podcast.
But that's the thing, though. When we were growing up, and obviously people before us, the only real golfers you could look up to were either people at your golf club, obviously, or the tour players.
Yeah.
Whereas now, with the internet, I mean, obviously you're, compared to the average guy, a good golfer. But, like, people look up to you for other reasons because of, like, how you and we make golf look fun on the videos. So it's not just about, like, I want to be like Rick Shiels because he's good at golf. It's like, we see that a lot of it on I saw it on the Wooden Golf Ball the other day.
Yeah.
So many people commenting saying that you're making golf look fun, you're making me want to go play golf, and that's as important as being a good golfer, because as much as you might look up to Rory and Tiger and Dustin, and you should do, you look up to them often because they are good at the game.
Of course.
But with you and what you do, I think people look up to that not just because you're good or very decent, it's because it makes it fun.
Do you not also think it's very relatable?
Yeah.
A young lad who, might be struggling with the golf, because golf's hard, as we've mentioned. We don't disguise that in the video. Like, I say golf is hard.
Yeah.
And you may look at tour golf and never think anybody ever hits a bad shot.
Yeah.
Would you?
Well, that's because as well, it only shows the best players in the world and the ones that are playing the best on that week. You don't see, maybe Rory would, but if, again, Danny Willett misses a cut and he shoots 76, 76, you won't see a single shot.
You don't see any of it. Where, again, little John or little Timmy or whatever is watching the channel and going, "Oh, bad shots do happen." Oh, Rick can play good golf, but he can also top a 3-wood. He can also duff a chip. He can also miss a 3-foot putt. And I think I would have really appreciated that when I was 10, 11, 12 growing up. Because again, it puts golf into a perspective that you go, "Oh, all right." So I used to give myself such a hard time for things like that when I was growing
100%.
up. But I think if you accepted it and went, "Okay, I don't want to do that." Granted, it's not something I want to aspire to, but it's okay. And I also think, and again, you might have been similar, through the winter, I really died off golf when I was younger. Like through the winter months, I almost semi-forgot about it.
Yeah.
And got into other sports, back into footy.
Obviously. Even footy. You would have called it football 6 weeks ago. Now it's footy.
Into the game.
I wonder why you wore shin pads today.
And, so I think again, because if I was young little Timmy or John now, going through the winter, I might not be playing as much golf because the weather's bad, but I'm still consuming golf content through social media, through YouTube videos, not just mine, obviously, not just things we produce. There's a huge catalogue of YouTube videos now people can watch. And I think that's obviously giving Joe Average a great insight to how to get better at golf, how to buy the right equipment, how to have more fun. But like I say, it's giving those young golfers the insight to what golf is actually really like and making it realistic, which I think is really important.
I do think that realistic thing is important because obviously you have to put your hand on your heart. Most people, I'd say everybody, to be fair, enjoys the golf more when they play well.
Of course.
Obviously. Nobody wants to be looking for balls in the trees or whatever. But it's a little bit like a bit of a silly analogy. But like with so many like influencers online and like beauty influencers and bloggers, there's a kind of a trend now to showing a lot more pictures with no makeup on.
Correct. Or
whatever. And it's like people like that 'cause it's relatable. Nobody wants to go on the phone and look at a load of beautiful people and make themselves feel like crap. But if you look at somebody you deem as really good looking, having a bad day, you feel better.
Yeah.
And it's like that with the videos. People want to see you at good shots 'cause it's fun and want to see you enjoying the game. But people, not in a horrible way, but want to see you at bad shots because it's real, isn't it?
People love it. So yeah, it's nice little, made me feel good. My wife was totes emotion after the phone call.
Was she actually crying? Was she listening?
Yeah. I put it on loudspeaker because, like I say, she loves the Irish accent. So I don't want to get into our role play or anything, but
yours and Claire's role play. Tell me more. That's for the live podcasting. That's what you're coming for.
I have to put on a little leprechaun hat.
Little Ricky comes out again.
A little pot of gold walking around.
Why does every single podcast which is me and you... Have you noticed when we have England golf on, dead serious, MasterCard, etc., and a guitar and stuff, it's just me and you and talk about Little Ricky all the time?
It's because we'd smashed, like, what? We've had too much to drink.
We've got so many sugar-free Fanta in the back there.
No, so nice little thing. And hopefully he continues to do well. And I joked on Twitter if he can mention me in his Open victory speech.
Imagine that.
Well, that'll be lovely.
I can't believe that you're someone's favourite golfer. Anyway, I'm joking. A quick question for you then, Rick. Got a little Dear Rick for you.
Okay. Whoa, early.
Yeah, just why not? It's from... I'm trying to spice it up today, keep people engaged. Actually, before I get onto that, I want to come on to something. It's important. I've not mentioned it on the podcast, I don't think. And if you're a watcher of the podcast, this doesn't affect you. We have inserted adverts onto the audio podcast. Do you want to talk about this or not? Do you want to cut this out?
I'll talk about it, yeah.
It's just the way you huffed. I thought you were going to say, like... this.
I was in, like...
Oh, the reaction, right, okay. So what happened was, as we used to joke in the old podcast, certainly in the era in your garage, do you remember, about getting a sponsor?
Back in the day.
And ultimately, I'm probably saying too much here, but we don't do this, well, you don't, the business doesn't do this for money, does it? We love speaking to the audience. People love listening to the podcast on a Tuesday, like Little John, etc. And it's something that's fun, and we've got this great studio. But we did have sponsors, we might have sponsors in the future again, but we're not bothered about, we're not going to start promoting absolute nonsense and stuff. It's just not what we're about at all. But what we have done is we've changed our podcast kind of hosting software so that it does insert an advert onto the audio podcast. One at the start, one in the middle, roughly, one at the end. People commenting, not kicking off, but saying, I pay for Spotify Premium. Why is an advert? It's nothing to do with Spotify. It's to do with the actual way the podcast is uploaded. You can just skip them. So if it comes on, it's a 30-second advert and you don't listen to it, just press fast forward. It's gone.
Yep.
I wanted to cover that because it's... don't want to annoy people, but equally, we don't want to start promoting nonsense, and I just thought, get it out there. Anything else to add to that? Or?
No, it's good. Listen, it's one of those things. We've done it for a long period. Well, obviously, fast approaching 100 shows, and podcasts make monetized.
Yeah.
Like YouTube's monetized, like Facebook is. So it's just an evolution. Hopefully, it'll allow us to do more. I mean, things like this set wasn't cheap.
Well, exactly.
And, we've got to cover costs. So hopefully, you're not too offended. Like I say, if you need to skip it, one click on your button to the right, and you can skip the advert. So.
Also, what has been good, the adverts that have been put on, we don't choose, but they've actually been things that are quite relevant, so it's good. Anyway, coming on to the Dear Rick from Anonymous. I'm new to golf, and I've been having lessons with a local golf coach. He's a PGA trainee,
okay,
so he's slightly cheaper. Okay, I think you're the expert for this.
Yeah.
I've had about 10 lessons now, and I feel like we are going in circles. One lesson will tell me one correction, and then about 3 weeks later, it'll tell me something different to the lesson a few weeks earlier. I think this is down to me not grasping it fully, but being told at the time this is fine, and then change it weeks later seems a waste of money for me. Basically, you want some help.
Okay.
About, well, I think the first thing he said is, and I think he's trying to ask about seeing a PJ trainee and it being cheaper. Obviously, is that better value? Is it not better value? Should you wait till someone is fully, trained? What do you think?
I was coaching as a PGA trainee. So when you first become a PGA professional and you sign up to be enrolled on the PGA course, as soon as you commit to that, you rescind your amateur status and you become a professional golfer. Under the umbrella of being a trainee professional, you are allowed to now start delivering coaching sessions. Certainly once you've done your level 1 coaching course, which typically happens fairly early in your PGA. Okay. Now, the level 1 coaching course will allow you normally to teach, really, beginners and juniors. That's kind of the level it's based at. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very basic information. It's grip, it's stance, it's alignment. It's things that you can deliver to a beginner golfer.
Question for you, just a quick one, so just slightly, but I understand why you would say beginner, but can it not be harder sometimes to coach a beginner who's got absolutely no idea, or is it just easy because you just say grip, stance, posture, etc.?
Is it harder to coach?
Well, just because I'm thinking, say if I don't have a clue to coach a golfer, it's just I can't see it. But equally, if I was with someone who's off 18 who had a slice and they were aiming left with it, etc., I might be able to say, actually, just turn a bit here, come on the inside a bit more, and they probably would do it a little bit. I tried to show people before new guys. I almost can't make it simple enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of demonstrating, so it's not jargon. Like, you can't say hit from the inside or change your alignment, because those words they just don't know yet. It's a lot of demonstration. It's a lot of instruction, and it's baby steps. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes where, let's say you might have taken a friend or a family member to the driving range, they want to copy you straight away. They want to copy your full swing straight away because that's what they see you do. Mm-hmm. When you're in a lesson environment more, as a golf professional, I would potentially not show them the full swing yet. We would look at very much of the basics. So they don't actually know what a full swing looks like just yet. Let's start off with grip. Let's start off with setup. And let's even just start off with a pitching wedge doing half swings and give expectation levels. So, for example, this half shot should, in theory, go to that flag there that's 20 yards away. And we talk in yards in golf, and that's a pace. And just all those little kind of terminologies you start to learn.
And you work that way and then work back to driver?
You just start to build the swing. Mm-hmm. So you start to do half swings with a pitching wedge, maybe half swings with a 7-iron, and then build the pitching wedge swing up to a 3/4 swing. And again, it's those baby steps. You're right, some golfers will be dead eager to hit driver straight away.
Yeah.
And my always big analogy was, you're a brand new learner driver. This club, the pitching wedge, is your little micro, your little Nissan Micra.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what you're going to learn in. Your 7-iron is your Ford, whatever, Mondeo. Random car. But that's kind of your middle of your range. Yeah. Your driver's your Ferrari.
And you're going to say Ferrari then?
Or your F1 car, or whatever. Yeah. Like, we can't jump in that straight away.
You don't, at 17, don't get into Ferrari, do you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you might crash.
Yep.
And you might, and that's the thing, it's, you might find it exhilarating and fun to hit, but also you might crash and you might, smash the thing up. So
do you think then, going back to this question, I know we don't know this guy's ability yet, but do you think, I know it's hard, you're not going to put this blanket over every PGA trainer. There'll be some, I'm guessing, who are uber knowledgeable, but is 10 lessons maybe too much? What do you...
So going back to the trainee there, for me, again, if I'm taking myself back to when I was a trainee professional, I was obviously good at golf to a degree because I'd turned professional. I was off about 3 handicap. I wanted then to take on my PGA training, okay? And I was starting to learn information about the golf swing. I didn't know everything yet at all, not even close, because growing up, I didn't have lots and lots of lessons. I had quite limited amounts of lessons. When I went to college in my school, we've spoke about a couple of times before, I did have a few more lessons and learn more about the mechanics of the golf swing. So I was somewhat knowledgeable when I was a trainee, but not to knowledge I've got now, because knowledge comes with experience. Knowledge comes with not only learning about the mechanics of a golf swing, but communication.
Yeah, massively.
You can't learn that. You have to do the hard hours to get the communication across, because you might word something to a student And it might work for that student, but it won't work for this student. So you've got to learn all those little traits. So for me, going back to this question, I don't think 10 lessons is too many because it's a commitment and normally you get a bit more discount. I would just manage your expectations of what you may be able to get from a trainee. Now, it depends on his expert level. It might depend on his golfing ability. If he's a lower handicapper, he might not require the skills of this trainee professional. But if he's a 20 handicapper, let's say, and this trainee professional plays off 2 or 3 or even lower, I think there's a lot that you can learn from him, but maybe don't look at it from the mechanics. Like ask him the questions of, how do you practice your putting? How do I get better at putting? How do I manage my skills around the golf course? More course management and actual skill-based exercises as opposed to mechanics.
Yeah.
So that trainee might just not know the mechanics yet, and he might be getting himself in a little bit of a pickle going one way or the other. The other thing, just to quote on that, just to caveat that, he mentioned that he's gone from one way and then a few weeks later he's telling him something else. That can happen in coaching because sometimes, let's say I've given you a drill. I want you to work on strengthening your grip because we've got to shut the face, okay? You might come back to 2 weeks later and you've done it too much. So then you do go the other way.
Do you find that though with people not do it enough normally?
They don't even closely do it enough.
That's what if I ever have a lesson, which is quite rare, but I think I'm doing something that I've been told to do, or even when you see it on camera and it's like you're nowhere near. So it's hard, isn't it, to go too far the opposite way, although it can happen. I
always remember teaching this young lad, and I think I might have told the story before, one of the best golfers that I coached back in the day, he was a +4 handicap, and he changed things so quickly. When I told him to do something, he changed it so quick. And I asked him, because I wanted to learn from it, I said, you're one of the only students, when I tell them to change something, you do it instantaneous. How? He said, it's funny you say that, because anything you tell me to do, I double the exaggeration.
Yeah. So and that's what then looks right to you. Correct. That's mad.
So if you tell me to shut my face in the takeaway, for me, I feel like it's like extremely shut. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. He said, that's how I kind of just get through it. Because I know feel and real is very different.
Yeah.
So to answer that guy's question, maybe look at asking him more advice about course management, training drills. Maybe don't ask him too much about the mechanics, because again, that trainee has probably just not learned those skills just yet.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That makes sense.
But you know, I also think though as well, I'm not going to name names here, obviously, but the PGA is obviously a 3-year course, if I'm right. Yeah. And you do that when you do it at any age, but often it's guys when they're 18 to 21 or That's girls. Right. Obviously, you could do it at 40. There's no age. But roughly, most pros, I would say, probably in their early 20s, aren't they, when they first turn PGA Pro. Is there anything you have to do along the way to, other than pay your fees, to kind of keep your qualification?
Once you're qualified,
you pay every year.
Yeah. So once you're qualified, you are... Certainly, if you have pros working under you, you have to keep up your level of, what's it called now? Like advanced learning. There's a phrase for it.
Right.
And I don't do that because I don't have pros working under me. So if I'm a head pro and I want to employ assistants, I have to be a AA pro. Right. And I used to be a AA pro when I was coaching a lot more, because you had to do more future learning. So you had to go on courses to acquire points, CPD points. I think they're called career development points. That's it. And you'd have to keep that to a high level. Now, these courses might be based not only on coaching, but business, social media, for example. I mean, the PGA have actually asked me to run a course on social media. So other pros come to that course, learn, and they gain CDP points on the back of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of what you got to do.
The reason I ask is because obviously, again, if you got 100 pros, you would imagine that, well, if you got 100 trainees and 100 pros who've been pros for 20 years, you'd imagine, obviously, the 100 that have been pro for 20 years are going to be better coaches, more knowledgeable, more experienced, obviously. But there's always going to be, like, the odd guy who's been a coach for 20 years, who actually doesn't coach very often, who works in the shop, who's more on that business side, who can't be bothered and doesn't have that much enthusiasm towards it, whereas there could be a lad or a girl, whatever, who's 20, who's not fully qualified yet, but swats up all the time,
100%.
Got really good charisma, who could be a really good coach. So it's not always a case that someone's been a coach for a long time is better than someone that's new, is it?
No.
It's different.
Again, it depends on the individual. You know, you get called out or you get found out if you're not staying up to date with relevant
It's like TrackMan's changed so much, hasn't it? Because I remember when I first started playing golf, people said to play a draw, you'd have a shut face at address.
Yeah.
And now it's actually an open face at target, but closed to path, isn't it?
So the old saying used to be swing path sends it, club face bends it.
Yeah.
So the path of your club would start the line, and your face would get the ball to curve.
Which
obviously,
we know
since
now
launch monitors, that's actually not the case. It's the club face that sends it to a degree, and the path that bends it, or the relationship between those two. So you're right, like things like angle of attack, things like D-plane.
Equipment as well.
Equipment. So I think golfers who are, it's the career, and you mentioned it's the vocation as such, they are probably quite active of learning about this information, because if they don't, they get left behind from a business standpoint, and also they just get found out. Like, because also the students' knowledge has improved enormously.
Yes.
Like, students are now going to their golf coach with more knowledge than they've ever had.
That's dangerous in some instances, isn't it?
Really dangerous.
It is.
I saw the back end of that or the early stages of that, should I say, when I used to have a few students come to me, and probably Rob Potter being one of them, who would know information but not quite understand it. I'm using Rob as an example, but there's a lot of students around that time where they felt like they knew a lot of information, but actually, did they know it? Did they really understand it? So I think go back to you, but I think all golf pros should continue their development 100%, whether it has to be as strict as going on courses, because again, as a pro, you're running the business, you're running the busy golf club. Can you really afford to take time out of your day or diary to go and do a course for a day down in Birmingham or somewhere else? So online courses last year were very popular. Even like the webinar that I did, the webinar I did for the PGA, pros who attended that webinar got CDP points. You're learning something. So to answer your question, pros, it's their own responsibility, but there is a level of responsibility to keep up the learning and the skill.
Good answer. I've come up with a theory.
Okay.
And it's taken me 20 years of golf, 20 odd years of golf to finally find this out. New golf clubs don't make you play better.
Shut up.
Seriously. So, quick little tale for you, Rick, which you kind of know, but I'll show the listeners those who are interested. But I recently got some new irons.
You did?
The Titleist T100S, the new ones that I think are out obviously now, got fitted for them. And the goal was this: they were going to replace the T100s they had from last year. There was nothing wrong with them, but I thought, why not? Fancy a new set of irons. I don't like them. Wow. And they don't work in my hands as well as my old ones.
And you got proper fitted.
And also, I actually went to the range the other day, and as it stands, I've got 3 sets of irons. I've got a set of Nike Pro Combo from 2015. I've got a set of Titleist T100s from last year, and I've got this new set of T100S that I've obviously just launched. Took all 3 7.9s to the range and hit quite a lot of balls. I've actually done this process about 3 or 4 times now, so we've got a bag with 3 7.9s in it. And honestly, I could easily go back to Nikes like that.
Really?
The only reason I've not done is launch a bit higher, but the T100 are staying in the bag. The T100S aren't going to make it, unfortunately.
Are the Nikes launching higher because they're weaker lofted? A bit older?
No, they're the same loft as the T100, the middle set, the T100, the normal ones. The Nike have this undercut cavity filled with resins. They're designed to launch higher. They're a bit chunkier as well. They're a nice iron. But I know we've said this before, and we kind of joke about it, but I like having new shiny stuff. Certainly, like, when I had a lot of Nike gear and it was discontinued, I felt like I wanted stuff that was current. It doesn't make any difference to your game, does it? But I felt like I wanted it. But honestly, I was desperate to put these new ones in the bag, these new 200S. They look so much nicer. They're a bit more like satin. I just can't get them to work. But yet, I still want to use them. And the marketing behind new stuff is so good. Like, how do brands do it?
I know, they're clever, aren't they? It's a bit like car manufacturers. I always think when a car manufacturer brings out a new car, it's not going to go any fast. Well, you can tweak the performance, obviously, but sometimes someone's at my door.
That's a delivery.
I think
it might be. There actually is some tailor-made stuff coming. Have a look.
Let me see, live on video. Should I speak to him?
Yeah, got Rick's now live on his, what's it called, that app again?
Ring
video doorbell.
Thanks to the wonderful guys at Ring who fitted me all
Brought
out.
to you by Rick. So not doing adverts. Do adverts at free doorbells. Is it clubs?
It is clubs.
Is it?
Oh no, it's not. It's the Tyler. Some clubs have arrived though.
Have they?
So I'm watching the live now. The Tyler's coming in the house. Who's finishing off our bathroom.
Sounds like a dodgy movie, this.
And I hope he's not Irish. And when my wife's opened the door, I can actually see 2 boxes of golf clubs.
Nice. Can you see the brands?
No.
No.
So where was I going with this? New clubs.
About new stuff. About like.
I just think they're clever the way that the fashions change. Like
very
things,
true.
like you can't imagine. And you look at it now. Like, have you noticed all these like Leeds Festival and Reading festivals? They look like they've stepped back in the 90s.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like it's all bucket hats,
Baggy
it's all
jeans
baggy
and
jeans.
stuff.
It's like really retro stuff. Like some of the cool kids that are here have that kind of clothing on as well. Like, and when we went to St Andrews and we spoke about it recently, like, and that's fashion again now. Yeah, fashion's come around, and I think golf clubs will see a little bit of that as well. Like if Ping brought out a really, really old school style of I2 irons, which actually they did with that wedge.
Yeah, they did.
Remember?
Yeah.
Like that catches people's attention again. And it's that, but with a modern twist. It's modern text. And again, going back to like, I remember when the first TaylorMade irons came out, when the font of the bottom changed,
Yes.
and I kind of weirdly slagged them off in my review. Now I have a set of TaylorMade irons in the bag. I don't even think about the font. Like, it doesn't offend me. It looks modern. It looks cool. So I just think fashions go around. I think trends come and go.
And it's new stuff makes old stuff look old. So
so weird.
my 200 normal set are like a kind of shiny chrome. The new one's satin. And because I know my mind now, the new ones are satin. The chrome shiny look old.
It'd be really interesting to do the sort of test as a blind test.
What? So you went to a non-golf? Like, yeah, that'll be good actually. Get a non-golfer and go, which set's newer?
You show them a brand new 7-iron from like 10 years and tell them to put it in date order. I wonder if they could.
I bet that no way. But we know, don't we?
So yeah, hopefully you. I mean, you don't play golf anymore, do you?
You know what I do recently? A lot of driving range sessions.
You like it?
I haven't played an actual round of golf for a little while, but I love going to the range, and because it's a bit of a snowball effect, because I'm going to the range quite a bit, I'm hitting it actually quite good, and then by going to the range and hitting it quite good, I've enjoyed it, so I want to go back again sooner than I would have done before. I reckon I'm going twice a week at the minute.
Wow. In fact, I think this could be a good talking point. I took my kids to the range last week.
I saw the picture.
So last Saturday, the kids had parties. My eldest daughter had a party at the not the chill factor, not
the play
thing underneath it. That's amazing. Have you ever been in that place? You wouldn't have done not your kids.
No.
It's out of this world. It's out of this world. So she had a party there, and my middle daughter had another party somewhere else. So my son was a bit left. So I said, well, I'll take Jude and Ivy to this party at Manchester, and Claire took my Pearl to another party. So because we were near Manchester and the kids really wanted to play mini golf because it's all the dinosaurs at Trafford.
Yeah.
So nipped over to Trafford. Mad this. Saturday afternoon, 12 o'clock. How big do you think the queue was?
Down to the car, but queuing off the car park.
I couldn't believe it. So I texted the guys I know there and said, any chance I can jump on the mini golf? Do you remember me? I used to do videos here. And he said, yeah, you have to queue up.
Did he actually?
He actually said,
who
you
said
got to
that,
queue
Pete?
up.
I
Yeah.
love that.
He said to me, I've got to queue up.
So how dare he? He's got paying customers in a queue. How dare he make Rick Shiels wait?
And not charge me.
Did he charge you?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying,
so
he said you can get it for free.
But you got to wait.
But you got to wait. I was like, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting in a queue. So I walk up, no queue. No queue.
That's ridiculous for 12 o'clock on a Saturday.
Couldn't believe it.
I know what he'll have done.
He told everyone
moved the
to
queue.
Yeah.
Peasants, be gone.
once Pete said no, I made a call. I made a call to Big Baz.
Big Baz,
Big Baz, just head down to Trafford and just shoe the queue for me.
Big hard Baz.
He's called the shoe the queue man. And so I went in, and I've got a little tip for parents listening how to keep there, because I feel like I'm in that set at the moment where my kids are starting to really get into golf to a degree, not like loads, but really starting to show an interest. And I want to keep that interest really high, because golf is a long time playing golf.
Yeah.
And if my daughter now starts at 7 and she stops playing at 87, it's a long time playing golf.
8 years of golf, yeah.
So I think it's really important when kids are young not to put too much on them straight away. And there's a little tip that I definitely think has worked for me so far, and I want to share it. We went on Dynafalls and we started playing, and we probably played about 5 holes, and the kids were loving it. There was no issue. Everyone was happy, and it got a bit slow, and the kids started to get a bit bored. Okay,
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
So, bit of a delay. So, 18 holes is mini golf, right? We've played 5. The kids were enjoying it up to 5 and now are starting to get a bit bored. So we played the 6th hole because I wanted to show them golf isn't always fast. Sometimes you got to wait. Sometimes you got to, wait for the group in front. No, you can't say, I'm Rick Shiels' daughter, can I play through?
Rick's quick 6 vibe here.
So it did 6. And then I thought the kids are really getting bored now. Like, I can tell this isn't going to last long. So I saw an opening later on in the golf course for the last probably 4 holes. So I said, come on, kids, we'll jump. So we jumped over to the 14th, which is probably not allowed.
Rick Shiels can.
and just played the last 4 with nobody in front of us. Kids loved it. Absolutely.
So you halved the course essentially by doing 10 holes.
We played 10 holes. The kids loved it. We kept the energy up. Okay. And I think if I couldn't have done that, I would have probably
failed.
Said we're done.
Yeah.
But in a good way. Because I think if kids are getting bored at that stage,
they'll associate that golf with being boring, wouldn't they?
Where if we say, right, you know what, we might come back on mini golf later. Let's go to the driving range and whack some balls.
So how many balls did you then hit? Because I saw your picture on the range.
So I went to the driving range, got a couple. I just got drivers. I just thought, let's have fun. Went upstairs, obviously, again fun because they can see it going down. Went on an automatic tee, again fun. I probably got 70 balls, I reckon. And again, we stayed in one bay because I think kids in a bay on their own, hitting ball after ball after, it's boring.
Well, also, you want them to hit 4 or 5, then you pull them away and you hit some or whatever.
Correct.
And then they're eager to get back on again then, aren't they?
And that's exactly what we did. So I gave them 10 at a time. Mm-hmm. So Ivy had 10, and like I was saying, right, this is your last ball. And again, it sounds weird, but it's almost putting that emphasis already on, she wanted that last one to be good.
Mm. Rather than just bang, 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 bang.
Rather than just be the 10th ball.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, this is my last one. I'll try and hit this one much harder or much further. And then she'd have to step back and sit at the back of the driving range, Matt, while Jude went up and hit 10 shots.
Are you really strict on, like, you have to stand there when someone's swinging?
So I put a basket down. I turn the basket upside down.
That.
Yeah, I turn the basket upside down and say, that's where you're going to sit.
It makes me, like, cringe. Not like cringe, like, but, like, yeah, when you see people swinging and kids, like, running all around, you need to, like, even though I'm not a parent, but you need to set a rule, like you've said there, that you don't go past that basket because it's so important, isn't it?
And I didn't give them hardly any instruction. I let them do it exactly how they wanted. And I just gave them little goals. Right, your goal is to try and get past the stones. Your goal is to try and get past that yellow flag, whatever it may be. And then once Jude had hit his 10, I hit 3. And just wanted them to watch me hit a golf shot because, again, they learn from it. Kids are such visual learners. Anyway, by the time 80 balls just didn't last long at all. Probably lasted half an hour. Kids were loving it. They wanted more balls. I said, no, let's go. Because I think that's really important. The kids should be still loving it on the very, very last shot.
It's literally the exact same logic we have with a YouTube video.
Yeah.
You want a YouTube video to be short. We did one today, that wooden ball video, and this is the place to say it on the podcast. The wooden ball video that's come out last week now was originally 16 minutes long, I think. Yeah. And we watched it and we were like, it doesn't feel right. It ended up being 8 minutes long. Yeah. And it ended so like sharp that, and we can see that through the analytics as well, we can see how long people have watched for. People are watching it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was double the length, people get bored, fast forward. You want people to be, it's like a good TV program, a good movie. Like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
That's what you want. And that's obviously what you're making golf to them.
Yeah.
Rather than stood there bored, which
exactly.
makes sense.
So just again, for teachers and parents listening, I think that's really important because again, a lot of parents who are getting their kids into golf might not know these little tricks and might be giving little Johnny 100 golf balls.
It's too much.
And every shot giving them analysis. You need to have your feet like this. You need to have your hands like this. You need to just let them have fun. And as soon as it stops being fun, get them out of there. Don't force them to it anymore.
Very good advice.
Get them out and get them enjoying it. Because again, I know Ivy and Jude this week have asked when can we go to the driving range again, which is so important.
You must be loving that.
Yeah.
A couple of questions for you then off Twitter. So I did a little tweet asking people for questions. Just thought I'd mix it up. We know it on the Facebook group. Also, actually, we've not plugged the Facebook group for a long time. If you are on Facebook and you're a fan of this podcast, if you go into search bar, type in the Rick Shiels Golf Show, we've got a group. There's about 60,000 members on there. It's a lot of chatter about the podcast, about just general golf. People share their achievements on there. If you had a hole-in-one and you put it on there, you're going to get probably 1,000 likes. Yeah. That's what it's kind of like. So if you want some likes, go in the group, get a hole-in-one.
That's all you need.
A couple of questions then, Rick. One's actually from a guy I know called Tim Stevens. Something we've kind of discovered when we had England Golf on. But I went to answer this quite like bullet pointy, so a couple of little bullet points of what you think we could do. He says, we know there are around 2 million extra golfers in the UK since the start of the COVID pandemic. What things do you think we should put in place to ensure we keep them in the game, you know, from golf clubs to organisations to driving ranges to whatever? What do you think, like little nuggets of, you know, because obviously the broad answer will be golf clubs should be making it a fun environment. They should be putting on events or whatever. But what is there anything else we can do that's almost thinking outside the box a little bit, that is almost as golfers and is almost our priority? Like what can be done? Or
question. It'd have been a good one to ask in England Golf.
I think we did ask them. I think they said about, because we said about memberships, if you remember. Yeah. I think they said like it's down to the golf club. The golf club's got the members. It's down to them now to make it a place people want to continue to be at and stay at and play golf there. But I'm just thinking.
I certainly think the community is overlooked sometimes in this idea that golf is golf as it is, but you make friends in golf, you make acquaintances in golf. Some people find relationships in golf, and I think that side of it needs to make sure it continues. Like, make golf evenings fun. Like, I always think of this idea, and we did the range night was like last year or so, a couple of years ago, where it's just a big fun, almost party-like atmosphere with music and things like that. I feel like golf clubs should do that a little bit more. You know, I actually went on Friday night. This is a really interesting one. Saturday night. My local cricket club had like this event on. Okay, and I'm not into cricket. Don't like it particularly at all.
Yeah,
right?
I've got visions in 6 months. You're going to be a cricket fan.
Well, maybe this.
Well,
this
this could be it. Yeah.
Maybe this evening helped with that. And all they did was put on a community night. Right. It was free to enter. You could donate to charity, but it's free to enter. They had fireworks on. They had a brass band on. They had food on. And it was just at a cricket club. And to be honest, I went with no expectations that I was going to see any cricket. We arrived at 4:00 and cricket was still being played.
That's quite good.
For like 2 hours. And it was just on.
It was quite therapeutic about it.
Was just there. But yeah, we set up a picnic blanket on the side of the pitch and we had a few beers and there's about 10 of us that went in the end. It was mega. And I went in the back. So have a guess what I'm doing now? Because you
going watching cricket.
No,
again.
Because I got a discount on beer if you remember.
So you've joined.
It's 25 quid to be a member. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll be a member, be a social member. It's round the corner from me. I might every now and again throughout the year nip over there.
Make your money back on discounted beer.
With my wife or with a few friends, or they serve food and things like that. All things I didn't know it did. And it's round the corner from me. But now I feel if I'm now a member and I have a little membership card, I'm a member at the cricket club, and in a couple of weeks they might have a game on, for example, a big game against whoever, another cricket team.
Imagine they need somebody on the bat. I don't know all the terms of batting, but someone's got like a big hooky draw.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like golf clubs should do that a bit more.
Yeah.
Imagine a community night at a golf club with fireworks and a band on, and you can use the 18th green as a picnic or what. I know, obviously.
I think you know what. I know it's a boring answer, but I think for the 2 million golfers, obviously they've not all joined golf clubs, obviously, but the ones that have, if you say how do you keep them being members, it's literally everything, isn't it? So it's like, make sure the food's nice when people go in after they've played and want to eat.
Make sure it's open.
Yeah, exactly. It's open. The changing facility is nice. It sounds like the toilets are nice. The coursing good condition. It's a little bit of everything. Like, if you join a golf club, unless you join one of these stupid places that's like unbelievably exclusive or dead expensive, there's always going to be something that's not great with it. Like whether it's not got the best practice facilities, not got the best pro shop, or the greens aren't amazing, or the food's not, there's always going to be something. But if you've got more things that you're happy about than what you complain about, you'd probably stay a member for a long time. It's like me with my gym. At the minute, I'm not going very much at all, really, which is bad. I need to. But I won't quit it because I do know overall a year I'll use it more than I won't. And there's a lot that I like. If stuff started to get so there's more things I dislike than like, I might look at quitting. So I think the golf clubs just have to make sure that like everything matters, doesn't it, really?
Do you think it's also a responsibility of not only the staff of the golf club and the committee, it's a responsibility of the staff and the committee to invest you more by getting to know you a little bit more?
Possibly, yeah.
Like, let's say, for example, the gym.
Yeah.
When you walk in the gym, does anybody say, "Hi, guy"?
No, which I would like.
And if they did, and it became a little bit more, every time you went, Big Barry said, Rick got me to move that cue the other day.
Yeah.
But anyway, how are you, guy? How's your golf pal? Or,
you'd
feel
more invested.
Have a good training session. Just something there quick.
Yeah.
Hi, guy, have a great training session today. If you need any help, give me a shout. When that time for renewal came up again,
you'd almost feel guilty leaving.
A little bit, wouldn't you? And I think, again, when I was a member at Mia, when I was one of the golf pros at Mia, one of the things that we really got hammered into, we have to learn everybody's name.
Yeah.
Like every member, we knew their name. They came into the pro shop, we got introduced to them, and it was almost like a competition in the golf shop. I remember a member would be walking up the steps, and we'd be kind of going, "Is this John? Is this John Smith in it? Yeah, John." And coming through the door, "Hi, John. How you doing? Are you okay? Yeah, nice to see you." I reckon so many people stayed because of that.
Is that personal touch?
So again, golf clubs, I think if they adapted that approach a bit more, if the captain made a bit more of an effort, if the committee made a bit more of an effort, if the pro did, if the staff that worked behind the kitchen or the bar or whatever made a bit more effort to learn about the regular faces, I think you would get less people leaving.
We will. The thing is, we will lose golfers off the back of it because not everybody that started playing golf in this last year is going to carry on every year. But I think what's important is if people have played it and at least enjoyed it to some capacity, they'll come back next year or the year after for a bit. It's like you with the cricket club. You might not go now for however long, but you will go again at some point, won't you? Another quick question for you. It's something that's a bit more niche, but someone said, how do you grow a social media following as a complete beginner? And there's obviously... By the way, I feel quite twitchy today. Have you noticed that? I feel like I'm touching the mic loads and rubbing my nose. So if there's any comments about that, just give me a minute. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm really moving the mic about. I'm conscious of it now, so I'm going to put my hands behind my back, and that feels even weirder. So there's a lot of people online now, which is obviously great, who are beginner golfers who've decided to build an Instagram page or a YouTube following, or try and build a YouTube following to kind of document their journey. And I'm sure you've seen loads of these before. How would somebody grow that? Let's call it Instagram. How would somebody grow that? What would they need to be showing? What would be different? What would be unique? Should they do it? Should they not bother?
Don't know. So many doing it now, isn't there?
Mia Baker's done it. She's killed it.
I think you've just got to be good on camera. Really? I don't know. Is that the secret?
Well, do you not think, though, if I started cricket, where I just talk about cricket, I don't play cricket, so I don't know anything about cricket. If I started doing cricket tomorrow and had an Instagram page, what would other cricketers want to see, or what would people who are also new to cricket what they find relatable?
Yeah.
So if you make a beginner golf Instagram now, and it's called Guy the Beginner Golfer, and I just put a picture on of a scorecard and go, I shot 110 today, it's the best score, but not quite broke 100 yet. Like, what does that really give?
Do you think this person who's asked,
do
you think they're trying to do this for exterior motives though as well?
Potentially.
Because you see a lot of now, again, Mia Baker's a great example, okay? And good on her. I think she's done great. She's got all 3 TaylorMade golf clubs. She's sponsored by Adidas. She's been signed by Modest Management. She's going to every event under the sun. She's doing interviews with some of the biggest names in golf.
People see her doing it and then think, I want a piece of that pie.
Like, is it for the freebies?
I don't think Mia...
No, I'm not saying she isn't.
Other people looking. Yeah.
Like, her story, I felt, obviously we had her on the podcast, was very organic. Like,
very
she went
genuine,
into she wanted to start golf. She went into an American golf shop. There was no golf gear for ladies. She wasn't happy. She sent an email to American Golf, and they, where if this person is trying to just start a YouTube channel, like what's the purpose? I think for anything, regardless of any social media, if you want to get a social media following, you've got to add value.
Yes,
that's the number one thing. Whether it's you're adding value by being a Kim Kardashian and you're showing the latest fashion trends or whatever it may be, or makeup or whatever. People want to know their lives because it's Kim Kardashian or whatever. Or if you're a golf instructor like me and you want to give advice, you want to give things for people to get better at. What can a beginner golfer add value? So that's the question you've got to add yourself. If you can write down on a piece of paper, how can I add value to people listening? And you can come up with 5 or 10 ideas. That's your skeleton.
You know what else is mad? You hear about this in all walks of life, and it is a bit of a cliche, whether it be a business person or a recording artist or a YouTuber. And in your case, I'll use you as this example. People do look at the success or the numbers that you've got now, and they do forget that when you first started out, there was firstly no guarantee that you were ever going to come to anything within that industry. And also, it's a lot of time and effort to get. It's like if you go on the channel now, I think you've got over 1,700 videos, or nearly the best part of 2,000 videos. And last week we had Carter on. We were joking about the old videos you had with him. And I actually went back the other day looking at some of them. This is how sad I am. Lying on the bed watching you and Carter. Sounds weird, lying on the bed watching you and Carter, but you know what I mean.
First time.
Won't be the first, certainly with Carter. He's a good looking guy. And I was watching some of the old videos, and you won't mind me saying it, they were trash.
Yeah.
They were. I'm not horrible, but like it's funny compared to now. They're trash. At the time, they weren't. They were
revolutionary.
They were. No, you go and play. Because think about it. There was that one you went playing Lytham. I think you did a 6-part video. You did a video, maybe 6 parts. I think it was 6 things every 3. It would have been. I think you did a video driving there. You did a video of a chipping comp, a bunker comp. Now, saying that tongue in cheek, but at the time,
that was Royal Lytham.
That was so different. That was something that people weren't doing. But people now don't watch those videos and don't see that where you've kind of come from. So people now that want to obviously get into YouTube golf or whatever it might be, there's no reason why they can't. There's so many opportunities, but it's going to take a long time. You can't do it for 6 months and sack it off.
I think the benefit I had when I was first starting is you almost could release crap at the time because there was nobody else doing it.
But it wasn't really crap though, was it? Because there was nothing to compare it to.
No, that's what I mean. You could what's the right word? Something about your teeth. You could cut your teeth on experimenting with content. Some things work, some things don't work. Well, I feel like now if you come out, I don't think I'd like to start now because I feel like the level is so good straight away. Like you almost can't release a video with bad audio, bad visuals. You can't.
No,
Back in the day, you could kind of get away with it because it was all quite new and exciting. And
I agree with that wholeheartedly, but I also think as well, I sometimes feel like I don't have any idea what somebody new could do now. But then people do crop up, like Stacked Golf, and literally, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, 'cause I love the channel. All they're doing, I'm using that in quotation marks, all they're doing is going around secondhand shops every episode.
So good.
But it's class. Yeah. And you would never have thought that would be a genre of golf YouTube and that would take off. So this guy's written the question, might start doing, I don't know, go and visiting the best driving range in the UK. Yeah. Every episode's going to a new driving range. Yeah. Right, I'm on the way to, that's actually quite a good series. I'm on the way to the driving range. I'm going to hit some balls. Let's see what the shop's like. Let's see what this has got. And you end up loving it.
Could just call it driving.
Yeah.
There you go. That's your first free idea.
Yeah. So there is opportunity. You just can't make crap. You've got to stick at it for a long time.
I want to bring up something golfy.
Okay. How long are we in, Matt? 56. Nice.
Right, quick one. The USGA has come out with a new rule.
Okay.
Have you heard about it?
I have, but I'm going to pretend I've not.
So currently, the legal limit of a driver shaft...
Oh, no, I've not heard this then. I thought this was going to be something else. I thought it was going to be that you can't call Bryson Brooksy or something.
That's ridiculous, that one, isn't it?
Well, if it's true, I don't quite know.
No, it is. Oh, right. That one's true. So apparently, the PGA Tour now are saying if you're on site and you shout Brooksy, I don't know how they're going to police this. You're going to get thrown out, from what I've heard.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it'd be nice if Bryson just shouted 4. Why don't we start with that? If he shouted 4 as many times as people shouted Brooksy at him, then it'd be all right. And he's not the only player. I know I get stick on that, but he's probably one of the most high-profile ones that don't shout 4. The legal limit of a driver length at the moment is 48 inches.
Yes.
The USGA are looking to cap that at 46 inches.
Right.
To limit driver distance.
Okay.
It's not gone down well from a lot of tour pros.
When was this announced? I've missed this completely.
Recently.
All right, okay.
Recently. Phil Mickelson did a really, really interesting tweet a couple of days ago. And he was talking about how they've taken the information and misinterpreted how they can get to the answer. So the big issue in golf at the moment, certainly on the PGA Tour or the world of golf, certainly long drives, is that the ball's going too far.
Yeah.
The best players in the world are hitting the golf ball too far.
Yeah.
Golf courses can't keep up with it. They need to buy more land, everything else, right? That's at the best level in the world. Mm. Average golfers aren't hitting it that much further than what they ever used to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mickelson had a really good point about a few things that the USGA have changed that haven't really affected the best players in the world. They've actually more affected the amateur golfer. For example, banning the broom handle putter, anchoring. Mm-hmm. It affected a few PGA Tour players, but it probably affected hundreds, if not thousands, of the average golfer.
But having said that, how many average golfers did you ever see with a broom handle?
I don't know. I can't remember now, but there would have been enough belly putters, broom handles, people who really struggled with putting. Another one they was talking about was when they banned the square grooves on iron
that's
shots.
A good one.
So the stat that Phil Mickelson used was something like, if you look at how many greens a PGA Tour hits, it's like 16 out of 18 greens. Okay, something stupid, a lot. Christ. You go down the pipeline to a 18 handicap or so.
Yeah.
They're hitting like 3 greens around or something stupid, right?
Yeah.
So they're not hitting the greens with a 7 iron or any iron. So what does it matter about the square grooves or not? Like, it's not so when they get punished, higher handicappers, is when they miss a green and they're left with a wedge.
Yeah.
They aren't getting as much spin as they could have done with a square grooved wedge.
That's true.
It's not so much to benefit or hinder the PGA professional. So he had a really good point. He said something along the lines of they should look at the golf ball and not rolling it back, because that's the kind of wrong terminology, but limit perimeter weighting of a golf ball. Okay.
So it's not stable.
No. So basically go back to liquid core golf balls. Because what he was saying that and it's a really good Twitter video, go on his Twitter profile and he explains it better than probably I am right now. When you hit a golf shot with a driver that's got a liquid center, the outside of the golf ball spins faster than the middle. And over time, that starts to even out. And when it evens out, that's when the ball drops out the air a little bit more.
Right.
And he said it's the way that would actually benefit. That was another thing he said. Also, if a golf ball is curving more off line with these liquid golf balls, it'll curve more off line. Where again, and at that speed, at that level, tour pros would miss more fairways. So if they're hitting it harder, they've got a likeliness of missing more fairways. He then said the amateur golfer would probably not notice any difference because they're not activating that liquid core. So anyway, it's a good video. And I thought it'd be quite interesting.
The only thing I don't get with like all this long drive stuff, and I'm sure I understand how if they want to build new golf courses and they want to make them long, it's so much land and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, isn't the person that wins getting the ball in the hole in the least amount of shots?
Yep.
So if all the golfers suddenly hit 400 yards, let's just say, that's ridiculous. But you're still going to get the ball in the hole. So is it then not going to come down to, right, take it for granted you all hit 400 yards, it comes down to the best chipper and the best putter anyway?
Well, it was a really interesting head-to-head the other day with Patrick Cantley and Bryson. Like, they played the golf course so differently. Certainly in the 6 playoff holes that I saw, Patrick Cantley still came on top. Because even though Bryson's so much longer, Patrick Cantley managed to make more birdies by hitting his iron shots closer to the hole than Bryson did with his wedges.
It is a weird one because at the end of the day, the equipment brands make so much money, sponsor the golfers. They need to keep making equipment. They can't just, if you think about it, if they just said, right, that's it, we're going to say, it'll never happen, obviously, but from now on, that's it. There's no more innovation in golf technology. That's just what you've got, and that'll be it forever. Then all the golf brands have probably got out of business after a while because people wouldn't replace the clubs. Once you've bought a set of irons, you have them for life. They wouldn't then be paying the tour pros, less money in the tour game and in the pro game. So they've got to keep making stuff. So how, I don't get, unless they have it so that it's one rule for tour pros and one rule for amateurs.
That's the one thing I really don't want to happen. Because that's what I love about golf. Well, I can't play footy with like at Old Trafford with, Ronaldo or whatever, or something like that. Like the scenario's not the same. Like in golf, it's so...
But you can still place at Andrews, regardless if Tiger can use different clubs to you or not.
I know, but I don't know. You're still playing it like the best players in the world are.
So I don't know if that would bother me that much if the tour... Because often we know that the irons that Tiger has or Rory has aren't the ones you buy in the shop. They're even the shaft, the toy shoe shafts are the best of the best. Like,
I know, but if you wanted them, you could have them if you had the capacity to get them.
Or could you not just have it then, silly, but you can have Tour Pro have their own clubs, toy shoe editions that are legal for them. We can use them if we want, but we know that we're disadvantaged because you can also buy like not non-conforming, but non-conforming for pro. So let's just say TaylorMade bring up 2 drivers. There's the Tour issue and there's the one that we have, the normal version.
They can't use the normal.
Exactly.
We can use the Tour.
Exactly. And when you hit them both in a launch monitor, you might see the Tour one's 10 yards less. So if you're that arsed about having it, you can go and buy it, but the normal one.
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean that we then don't have rules in by the USJ and R&A. It's just that they're tighter tolerances.
I think you've just cracked it.
Yeah.
There you go, USGA.
You just charge a bit more for the Tour issue or charge a bit less if it's not. I don't know. But it's weird. But then there's so much more around it. Like, is it going to make much difference if the driver's not as long, then they're going to lose potentially a bit of club head speed, but are they just going to keep working out and getting stronger and finding new technology, new ways of new, even like clothing and footwear, and it sounds ridiculous, clothing, but that can make a difference. Obviously, if someone said to you now, go and hit a golf ball as hard as you can, but you've got to wear a suit. You couldn't swing and normal like dress shoes. You can't swing as fast as if you're in like looser stuff.
Do you know what it does affect more than anybody on the planet?
Tall Paul.
He'd have to go to a 46-inch driver.
Right.
How mad's that? So if you don't know, Paul Sturgis, who we've done some videos in the past, he's the tallest golfer in the world at 7'7.5" if he's not grown since that. He currently uses a 48-inch driver, the legal limit. He could easily use a 52-inch driver if it was legal, but he chooses not to. He'd rather use a 48. But now, if this rule comes in, he'd have to use a 46. Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone.
That was a good one. Yeah, so as we said at the start, I've got no idea how many tickets are going to be left when this goes out. Hopefully none, but there might be a few left. It's looking pretty so. It's looking good. So. It's looking good.
There'll be a few straddlers left over the weekend, but I'm pretty sure it'll be sold out.
And then if it goes well, there might be potential for the future to do some more.
Go on tour. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we shall see you very soon. We might have a guest next week.
The one that you mentioned the other day, CB.
Try and get that sorted.
Yeah.
If you're guessing with that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you soon.